selected Indeed as a topic because we have been receiving a number of queries from clients about a lot of the changes that are being made for Indeed. So we're going to go through what those changes are, what do they look like, how do they impact the usage of Indeed, and then what's that actually bringing through in terms of the impact on you recruiting for your organization. And then we'll just come to the solution bit. So what are we seeing people doing that is working, what's not working so well? And there'll be some time at the end just to ask some questions if you've got some questions about your own situation or how it impacts you. Do feel free to interrupt me there. There is a chat window in the bottom right-hand corner, so feel free to ask questions as we go along. It shouldn't be a particularly long session, but I will leave plenty of time at the end so you can ask me any questions you have and how it applies to you. So we have received a wide range of different pieces of feedback from our clients, but we've also been speaking quite heavily to Indeed about what their plans are. They are now part of Glassdoor, or Glassdoor is now part of Indeed. So there's a lot of work going on around aligning the two businesses, in particular around their ratings for profiles, and the fact that on Indeed, really the issue has become that most people see free postings as the core to the Indeed model. So to monetize that, free postings are being phased out. And initially that first step has been to reduce the number of posts you can have to 3. So 3 posts each month is the absolute maximum, although we have seen it where some clients haven't been able to post free jobs at all. And where they have been able to post a free job, it's taken about a week to go live. So I think the business model that they've kind of gone with Indeed's free postings is just to make it as complex as possible so that you basically go in and sponsor the job, which is strange really, because there is a shift to an increasingly complicated paid for model as well. So there's 3 different options that Indeed now have. When you go in there, there's sponsored jobs. You also have smart search. Someone's saying they can't hear. Can anybody else not hear me? Perfect. Simon, I think you might need to exit and come back in, and then that should solve it for you. So yes, there's an increasingly complicated model. In essence, you're paying for visibility. I think the different models that they've been building, they've all got fancy name. They've got smart match, whatever it might be. But the long and the short of it is that you're basically paying to get to the top of those search results. So the more you pay, the longer you're at the top of the search results. Yes, just a note that that the recording will be sent out after this. So because of that increasingly complicated model, we're seeing that there is a rise in issues on the platform, and some of the people that we have we've actually spoken to in terms of they've been using Indeed and they've had problems. Some of those people have seen a massive increase in situations where they've overpaid sponsoring a job. One of them had overpaid by 1,400 in a month because the day rate actually hadn't capped it at the level that they thought it was going to cap it at. So complexity and potentially some technical issues there as well with the changes that they're bringing in. From a technical point of view, Indeed used to scrape jobs. They used to use something called an XML feed to allow you to post for free and relatively easily on their platform. That's completely been phased out. And late last year, that had been moved across to kind of manual posting, but again, that's being phased out. So we expect the 3 free postings per month to be completely removed in the next couple of months. And and we're seeing that there's an increased competition between Google jobs and Indeed in the search results because of that. So there's a lot less content there. They rank low in the search results. But interestingly, as a lot of people on this call will have known, that quantity of candidates is increasing rapidly. So it's not unusual for us to talk to a client and them have between 50 to 80 candidates applying for a role. Sadly, they're not 50 to 80 high quality, good fit candidates. So there is a massive decrease at the same time in the quality of candidates. Not just as a percentage, but the number of people that they're getting through that they can shortlist as a number has decreased quite a bit. I think that that's not just Indeed's fault. So one part of that is just the fact that they're trying to push those jobs out to lots of people. It's not a very targeted approach from Indeed. But the thing that they can't really be blamed for is the fact that a lot of candidates now use AI to create very quickly a CV, very quickly a covering letter. So on Indeed, they are able to mass apply for a vast quantity of job adverts, which isn't great for you recruiting, because 60, 70 candidates to go through, all with an AI CV that looks fairly similar to each other, especially where those people aren't particularly relevant, is becoming increasingly difficult to do. One thing that is difficult to explain is why ineligible candidates are no longer being filtered by Indeed. So previously, you were able to rule people out automatically through not having the right level of visa or eligibility to work in the UK. That strangely seems to have dropped off for a number of people. So a lot of problems in getting people applying for the job that you just simply can't legally hire, which is a shame, because where you do have that quantity, it would be good to not only get the quality, but also get that quality from people that you can employ. So they're the main changes. We have spoken to them about what their plans are for the rest of the year. They will be implementing an increased number of AI tools. So just a bit of caution there in terms of generating your adverts on Indeed. We have seen them pulling through benefits that you don't have. So we worked with a school that it pulled through that you get access to their swimming pool, but they didn't actually have a swimming pool. And it had been pulling benefits from different sources online about that client, even though there was multiple clients with the same, multiple people with the same name out there. And therefore it was combining benefits. So just be careful that you're not over-promising if you are using that AI tool. And they also plan to automate some of that sourcing. So they have a large number of CVs within their database, and they plan to use AI to make it a bit easier for you to find those people. They have told us that they're hoping to reduce that volume and focus on quality. So they talked to us about looking for those signals in terms of when people in their database might actively be looking, and they might match those role criterias that you have saved within your system. We'll see how well that works and how well it doesn't. And their final task for the end of the year will be what they've kind of called like a walled garden, where they will be kind of consolidating everything into their ecosystem, which will mean that you'll have to do a lot more in their platform to be able to manage candidates. And it will almost be kind of like an ATS. So you're having to be logging into your current ATS on your, if you have one, or whatever system you're using on your website, but you also have to be logging in a bit more regularly to their ecosystem, which, if you like their ecosystem and their systems, is a good thing. But if you find them frustrating, then that's probably not great news for you. So they're the main changes. In terms of the impact for the education sector, we're finding that those free postings, because of a lot of that AI functionality, because they are being pushed as far down the search results as possible, and because they're not targeted any longer, they're actually causing a lot more harm than good, which is a shame, because a lot of people relied on them in the education sector. Because of that, increasing candidates and that decreasing quality, we're also seeing that there's an increased time spent shortlisting, responding to those candidates. You never know whether within those vast quantity candidates, if they're suitable people who you might be putting off applying in the future. So a lot of our clients are having to go through those candidates just to make sure that they're not upsetting or creating a bad experience for people that they do want to apply again in the future. A lot of time is being wasted on the Indeed platform. If that is something that you're finding as well, you're definitely not alone. The platform, with all of these changes coming through, all of those tech changes, all of that AI bit being implemented, it is breaking more regularly. It is having a lot more issues than previously. So don't feel that you're alone in that. And it's very hard to objectively shortlist those AI created applications because you don't know whether you're being fair or not in kind of ruling people out because there's junk in their application if AI has put it in there. My view in that topic is if enough recruiters, enough HR professionals start to rule people out when they've got rubbish AI generated CVs and applications, then people will kind of fall back on crafting their application from scratch, which would be the ideal situation. And I think at the moment, in terms of candidates, that is how you stand out. You create your CV and your covering letter from scratch. Maybe use AI to refine it in places, but you don't just rely on uploading a LinkedIn profile, getting it to create a CV, and then sending it across to 400 different people. Where those 3 jobs are, you are able to make them live. Do be careful. They do close. They do get flagged, as Indeed calls it, without warning. They do get edited without warning as AI is applied to them. We don't seem to really understand fully the rules where AI is being used to create benefits, but it seems to be they're kind of trialing that and rolling it out. And for jobs that they're underperforming, they're then automatically applying AI to that copy to try and kind of boost that job performance. So just be very cautious around that. Indeed's feedback so far has been to say that the best approach is to consider there are no more complementary roles, as they call them, or free posts, as most people call them. Their visibility is going to be minimal, and they're not going to perform well. So the best bet is to basically pay for them. I think that in terms of the solution, what we're seeing works well, is a little bit more of a bespoke approach. So if you've got things like support roles or tech roles or whatever it might be, outside of, say, academic or specialist roles, then moving across to kind of a bespoke approach, and we're very happy to help with that. So feel free to let us know about a particular job, and we'll tell you where's currently working. But for those support roles that you might be using to recruit on Indeed previously, CV Library and Reed seem to be working well. So we've just done some research around kind of the cost per click for those different platforms. They're getting about 13 to 18 applicants on average for a job advert. Tends to be much cheaper than sponsoring on Indeed, and the quality tends to be better. So less people to go through and an increase in quality. Where you've got middle to more senior level roles, the return on investment that you get through paid for marketing campaigns on LinkedIn tends to be working really well. I wouldn't necessarily go in at kind of an admin or a coordinator or an advisor level, but mid-manager level and up is working really well on LinkedIn. So if you do want to trial that, feel free to message me after this, and we'd be happy to help you with that trial. We always recommend that you don't use the job postings on there, but you do use a marketing campaign. So very happy to have that conversation with anybody that's interested to talk that through. But in essence, where you're using the job posting functionality, it's typically targeting people that are already engaged with your brand. So for example, if you're a school, we know that can be quite dangerous because you tend to get lots of parents applying for jobs that they're not suitable for, and that they're basically feeling that they've got a better chance applying for a job because their child goes to that school. That's sometimes going to work out fine. So you might be working for a marketing manager, you might get a parent apply for it. But typically what we see is it doesn't work out well, even when there is a match of skill set, because that cultural fit is wrong. So you're recruiting a parent based on the fact that they're eager for that job, but they're eager for that job because their child goes to that school and it fits in with their lifestyle, or they feel like they've got an advantage. But actually, in reality, there's not a great cultural fit there. So that's why LinkedIn marketing tends to work better. And there's a range of niche options out there. So for those very junior roles, some of those options can be from as little as £50. There's ones for really, really niche, so like grounds people within schools. There are job boards for that. There's catering platforms. There's a variety of different things. So that niche bespoke approach can work really, really well in terms of replacing Indeed because it's cost effective. But also you're just targeting those people that are very, very relevant to a job role. So that's everything I wanted to cover in terms of the problems, the reasons for those problems, how it's going to be impacting you, and some of the top three solutions that seem to be working at the moment. Appreciate that some of you might want to drop off at this stage, but for those of you that have some questions, please feel free to type them into the box in the bottom right hand corner. And hopefully for those of you that don't have any questions, you found this really useful. But any questions you have, please put in the box at the bottom and I'll answer them verbally. Brilliant, thank you. Brilliant, great. Lots of thank yous and not many questions, so that's a great sign.